Hey everybody. So we're just 1 minute early, but we'll go ahead and get started since there's a lot of you on already. Thanks for coming to Dotloop training today. I'm gonna show you guys how to do a loop, how to make a loop, whether it's a listing or whether you are representing a buyer. I do have a slideshow, but I'm gonna send that to you later when I send you the recording of our training. So today we'll just spend time on dotloop.com and just on the website. I think that will be the most helpful. And then you guys can refer back to the slideshow, as you feel like it's helpful later. Let's go ahead and get started. I am logged into my account. I'm an admin, so the top right of my screen, I can see the different offices. Obviously, you're going to have your own account and, so it'll be a little different, but essentially your login page is going to display all of your loops. So just kind of a little brief overview in case there are people here that are like brand new and have never worked on Dotloop before. So Dotloop is your transaction management software. It connects everybody in the transaction and it allows the tracking and completion of all of the documents needed for the transaction. And it, of course, eliminates the need for printing, faxing, or exporting and then later emailing documents. So you can actually do that directly from Dotloop if you want. But of course, if you guys are more comfortable downloading PDFs and then sending them via email, you can still do that as well. So Dotloop goes by a very specific step-by-step process. So the first step is to prepare and edit the forms. The second step is to send them out for e-signatures. The third would be to share the document with all of the parties involved. The fourth would be to then submit for review. And then the last step would be to store it in the cloud software. So when you log into your account, the first thing you're going to see are your loops, and your loops are your transactions. So kind of think of the homepage as a filing cabinet for all of your documents. You really want to make sure to get acquainted with the drop-down menu with your account. You want to make sure that everything is filled in, like all of your personal information is going to be filled in here, because that's what's going to auto-populate in the documents as you go along. So just go in there. You want to click on profiles and then make sure that on your end, all of this is correct. You want to make sure you have your MLS association, Board of Realtors, all right here, that's all here. You can click add association if you need to still add yours. And you want to always pick the title of the association that has the green check mark, because that means it's been verified with Dotloop. Now, when you scroll all the way down to the bottom of your profile page, you're going to see all of your notification settings. It's going to automatically have it so that they're all checked. And that means that you're going to get emailed when any of these things happen. And you may not want that to be the case. So just review it and think about what you would like to be notified about. Most people are going to want to be notified pretty immediately if there's a signature, right? Because that is going to prompt an action from there. So just think about it. And, if you guys want, you can, I always recommend doing just a practice loop. And I mean, even emailing documents to somebody as practice and seeing how their action, opening the email, signing the pretend document, how that comes back to you in your email. How are you viewing that? Do you like that? You have daily task reminders. I like to have this checked because it'll prompt you in your email to complete the tasks for that day. But I know some agents don't like that. So just some things to think about. So loop best practices. So well, first of all, if you want to ever get back to your loops homepage, you're going to click on this little circle at the top right that says loops. And then it's loops best practices to have one loop for every transaction. So every listing, every offer. So if you have a buyer and they're writing 5 offers on 5 different properties, but it's the same buyer, you're going to have 5 different loops. So just keep that in mind. So per transaction. So we are going to go ahead and click add loop. And this is the first step. You're going to name your loop. So it's always best to use the property address or the MLS number if you know it. But if you don't have those 2 things, or, you just don't want to put that right now, you can always put the client's name here and then go back and change it later. So I'm going to type in an address, family house in Hawaii, because that's always my go-to pretend. The next step is going to be to choose, is this a loop for a listing, for a buyer, what, land. So you just want to choose what this loop is for. So I'm going to choose buy-side residential. You can upload a photo if you want. I like to upload the photos if you have them, because I'm a visual learner, and that's, if you have a lot of different listings and properties, it's nice to just put sort of a face to the name. But you can do that later. So I'm just going to click done. Okay, so here is my loop. I haven't entered a status, but it's always good to start with a status. So I'm going to say pre-offer. We don't have a sales price right now, so I'm going to click view loop. So I've opened my loop. This is what we just created. So it's purchase. It's in the pre-offer status. This is all at the top left. And then I have my view details tab right under the address. I'm just going to click on view details. So here we have, custom name. You can use the property address, but this is where you just really want to go in and make sure everything is being filled out. So, one of the first things you want to make sure to do is add all of the people that are attached to this transaction. So there's the admin for your office, right? Which in this case is me. I have Phil, who will be the broker for this transaction. And then I'm going to add my buyers. So I'm going to put that in right now. Make it up. And then for the role, I'm going to say buyer. And then once I choose buyer or seller, whichever one, it's going to prompt you to add as many details about this person as possible. And again, I recommend doing that here, because that means that anything you guys, any document that you need to fill out for this property, it's going to auto populate for you. It just makes it so much easier. And it makes it a lot less likely that you're going to make a mistake. So fill that out as best you can. You don't need to send an intro email. So if it's a client, you can ignore this little check mark down here. The intro email is more if you are assigning somebody as like a transaction manager, and you just kind of want to let them know, like, hey, a loop's been created, you're assigned to it, that kind of thing. So I would just leave that blank. So I'm going to say add person. Perfect. And then let's say I have 2 buyers. So I'm going to add another buyer. Most people have usually 2. And I'm going to say buyer, add. So So I got both my buyers added here. I'm going to leave that there for now. And here, because Dotloop is connected to your MLS, you're going to be able to search here for the address or the MLS number, and then that information will be able to auto-populate here, which is kind of nice. All of the financing stuff will go here as that information comes in. Contract dates, the offer date, which, you could probably one of the first things you could fill in once you have all of that information ironed out with your clients. Yeah, so all of this stuff, it's just really, really nice that it's available for you guys in the View Details tab so that you're just adding all of it to one location. So I'm going to press save. Always press save. Nothing is auto saved in Dotloop. So, okay, so now I'm going to go back to Loop, which is at the top left of my screen. And then here I am in my loop. So these are going to be all of the documents that have auto-populated for me because I pressed, I said that it was a purchase, right? So all of these documents, so these are, so really quickly here, you can click to expand or retract your folder. You can see how it kind of has like an open versus a close icon right here. So I'm just going to close them so it's a little bit cleaner, but you have your initial docs, which is going to be the offer package. Obviously other documents might need to be included, and that's, for you and your broker to determine. But these are going to be all of the basic documents. These are the mid-transaction documents, closing documents. So for the initial part, right, you're going to be trying to get all of these done. This is all of the initial documents. So anything that's required is going to say required next to it. And the required documents there needs to be a document in this slot in order for you to be able to submit for review. The submit for review button is here at the top right. So once you've either uploaded all of these documents or filled them out and gotten signatures, and had, everything's complete, then you can submit for review. If you try to submit for review and there are things that are required that are missing, Dotloop is going to send you a message that's going to, right on your screen. And it's going to say, hey, you can't submit for review, you're missing documents. So you're not going to be able to submit for review until you've got all of these in the right locations. So just a heads up on that. So I'm going to click on the as is residential contract, which is one of the first ones, one of the first required documents. And here we have an autofill feature that is prompting me to fill in as much as I can, which is really nice. So we have John and Jane Smith. Those are the two buyers that I inputted at the beginning when we created my loop. And I can, I didn't input any of the agents, but you can do that here. Property address, anything else I can fill in. And then you just press autofill at the very bottom. And it says 2 roles have been assigned, 3 fields have been autofilled. So it will always let you know what's been done. And here I can see in the yellow everything that's been autofilled. I can also type. I don't have to use autofill, I can just type it in. You want to make sure everything's checked. And then it will have the initials down here for where everybody will be initialing when this is sent off, sent out for initials and signatures. So the whole document is here for me to double check, to fill out. At the top right of the screen, you have a bunch of different options. So you can add signatures and initial boxes. You can add a strike through. I'm not sure what the rules are, where you guys are. Obviously, I'm not a broker, but I mean, You might want to just check before you strike anything through, but you can use this as needed. You just basically click it and you can drag it somewhere. And then say I wanted to add an initial, I'm going to click add initial. And then I just move it where I want it and then click, and then it'll stay where I clicked. Pretty handy. Here is the autofill. If you want to go back to autofill and add in some more information, you can. And then of course the file button, you can save to your computer. You can print directly from Dotloop if you want. You can download a PDF. If you have a big document, so once you start filling out the document, you can't split it or rotate it or any of these things. But if you were to upload a PDF from your computer, all of these would be available options. So split document comes in really handy if you are uploading a PDF that is the entire contract plus 4 addenda, right? And it's scanned as one document. You're going to probably get in there and press split document, and you're going to make sure they're all split into the appropriate sections that they need to be. So you can review any notes you've made. If you've assigned any tasks to this document, you can, look at that. There's the document history. If there's been a ton of signatures and, reviews and stuff, you can check that out. You always want to press save to save your work. And then save and share. So this is prompting me. See, so I added an initial and then I didn't fill it in. So I'm just going to say sign now. Adopt and sign. We'll pretend like I wanted to do that. But if there's any initials or signatures that the document is waiting for, it's not going to let you sign and share it. Okay, so let's actually go back. Yes, I want to save my changes. All right, so just making sure that you are aware of everything you're doing, which is cool. So everything is here. Right next to the title of the document, you can actually add a tag or like a little note, which is cool. And then you can even share it directly. There's a little share button right here. Right here, it will tell you who you've shared it with so far, which is awesome. And then if there are notes, this will be a little filled in box, so you know that there's some notes attached to the document. So really cool. So if you would like to upload documents, you are going to hit add folder like I just did, and you can add a document. So you can either add it from templates, and this is going to be your interactive form, any of the interactive forms that are attached to either our company or your MLS. So you can click templates, and then these are going to be all of our forms. So if you are looking for a Dalton Wade form, a Florida Dalton Wade form, that would be right here. So all of these are listed, and I can just go down and check the boxes next to the forms that I want to add. So let's just add all of those. You're going to press copy. And it says all 5 of these were imported. So I'm going to press OK. And now here they are. And let's add some more documents. So I'm going to say add document. And this time I'm going to maybe upload something from my computer. So I'm going to click the middle browse option. And it's going to prompt me to find the document. So I'm just going to click. I don't know if it'll let me. I'm just going to click this just random thing on my desktop. So it has to obviously be in PDF. It can't be like a Word document or anything, but I was able to upload this document successfully. It's right here. And if I need to put this in a place, in one of the placeholders that are required, you can drag and drop. So see how I dragged it right over the MLS printout name. I'm going to drop it and it's going to replace it. So if you need to add the MLS, details, if you need to upload them as a PDF, you can, and you can just drag and drop it over the name, and that PDF will replace the blank document that's currently there. So that's awesome. So because I've now uploaded a document here, it says not submitted. It used to say required, but now it just says not submitted. So that just means you have uploaded one of the required documents and you just haven't submitted it yet. So just helpful to kind of remind you later on, like, hey, you did it, it's just not submitted yet. So that is kind of the basics of that. Let's go ahead and go down here. So we're in our loop. And I'm just going to minimize these just to make it a little bit cleaner here. I have, as you fill things out, you can have all of your service providers, your vendors here. I have all my people, and I can always add people and change things as needed right here. And then as I'm going down, I also have my task lists. You can make as many task lists as you feel you need. Because this is a buyer represented sale, the buyer agent checklist is what I am being shown, right? So this would be a listing checklist if it was a listing. So this is auto populated for me, which is really helpful. So you can go ahead and check things off as you go. You can also assign a due date to all of these tasks, which is great because it will email you or notify you however you want that, hey, this task is coming up, this task is due. So I'm going to do that. Let's see. I'm going to say it's due tomorrow. And I can even rename it if I want or delete it if I need to. So I probably, when you guys get in here, I would go down and give all of these due dates, because this task list is going to make sure that you're not forgetting anything super important. So I definitely recommend paying attention to this task list and probably checking it every day, making sure your notifications are turned on. And then here's a little reminder folder. You can use this as you feel like you want to. You can add reminders for yourself, and Dotloop will help you keep track of everything, which is great. All right. So I'm going to go back to the loop. And let's see if I can find my loop. Okay, here we are back at the loop. Well, this is another practice loop I created, but this one I added a photo to. So once you have everything filled in, all the required documents are filled in, that's when you're going to press here, submit for review at the top right. And it's going to go to compliance. And compliance is going to look at everything to make sure everything's filled in, everything's signed. And then you will be good to go. One more thing I did want to show you guys. So if I wanted to add a document from an email, that's going to be this last option here. So you can press email and then you can copy this. So just press copy to clipboard. And then you can actually include this link into the CC or, any section of the email. You can either send it directly to this link or you can put it in the CC section, and whatever PDF is attached to that email is going to show up in your Dotloop loop. So super cool. So that is kind of the basics. This is sort of the main basics of Dotloop. You know, how to create a loop, how to upload your documents, um, the different ways to upload the documents, how to use your task list. So as you guys are going along, creating your loops, um, one of the biggest things I can recommend is please, please, please create a practice loop before you have a listing or before you have a buyer client and all of a sudden you need to do it and you don't know how to use Dotloop. It's very stressful for you. So just save yourself that stress and just please practice, because you know sometimes you don't know what questions you have until you actually get in here and start fooling around. So create a pretend loop, create some pretend clients, use your friend, your partner, your sibling, you know, as an example client and send things to them. Send something to one of your other email addresses. How does it show up on their end? Just get familiar with the Dotloop system. So we're pretty much done for today, guys. I am going to open it up for any questions and we can go over all of those. And I'm going to send you this recording and my slideshow as well afterwards for you guys to review. So I'm going to open this up. I'm going to stop sharing and open this up for questions. Make sure my chat feature is enabled for all of you. Okay. Stop recording.